Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry,
I was just going to say, just to let everyone know that the session's going to get recorded so that we've got an option of being able to play this back. This is an interactive session with Scott, so I just want everybody to be aware of that. Obviously, we're interested for you to share your ideas and have a discussion, but be aware that there will also be a recording. So that's my little bit. Sorry, Scott, I jumped right in over top of you.
No, that's all right. That's great. Thanks, Jamie. Hello, everybody. Just to say, we're waiting for a few more people to arrive and then we'll kick off. Yeah, won't be too long. Setting everything up so I can see it all. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome along. Something now crazy happening on my computer. Okay. Hi, I'm Scott, and I'm the founder and director of the Association of SU Professionals. It's good to see you all at the session this afternoon. It is an interactive session. There's a bit of a presentation at the beginning about the ideas and the things that we're developing so far, and then some questions that I'd really like to get your input on. So feel free to put yourself on camera and to use your microphone for that. If you wish, we can also use the chat function, yeah, that should be good. Okay, a professional association, give us your ideas. This session is entitled at. What we're looking at today, is there a problem? A bit about the ideas so far, some of the things we've done so far. I want to hear about your experiences and do a bit of a SWOT at the end, and just give you a sense of the next steps that we envisage for the association. So is there a problem to solve? One of the things that I've been thinking about a lot is what is the profession of working in a students' union? What does that mean? We work in a multifaceted sector that has lots of other professions working within it. And we get to see some of those professions in the way that they are, sort of promoted by their own professional associations. So I'm thinking about the people who work in finance, in HR, in facilities, in communications, some for advice work and so on. But then how do we bring all of that together in one organisation or in one sector? There's another thing really for me, which is about what is the value, what is the recognised value of the profession, and how do we see the profession from within inside what we do, but also then how is that perceived outside? For many people, and I've said this in some of our consultation sessions so far, I've been working in the students' union sector for over 20 years and still people liking it to just, wanting to stay at university for longer than I should have done and enjoy all the perks that brings. Talked about the other professions that coexist, but how do we make that work for us as a sector. People choose to work for students' unions, and therefore we need to really promote that and make sure that we're selling that to people who might want to. Also, thinking about a professional association, is it always just about learning and development? Is it about our brand awareness and our employer brand to bring new people into the sector and also be proud of those people who move on? Are there professional standards? In every single students' union that I've ever worked, there are those written codes, but there's also those unwritten rules around the professional standards that we have within our organisations. And isn't it time that actually we thought about having a national set of professional standards? And then ethics and code of conduct. I know that everybody that I've worked with, the vast majority of people I've worked with, are very proud to work within the students' union movement, and are highly ethical in their the way they do their jobs and the way they carry out their responsibilities. But isn't it about time we also talked about what they are in a national way, and also then what those codes of conduct that follows as a result? So from all of those kinds of thoughts, and some of you will have seen the blog that we did as part of Wonky SUs, and we've been putting together the ideas around the association. So our vision is for high quality professionals operating at the heart of every single students' union, improving students' experiences. The purpose: we improve the professional standards of our members and champion their role within the sector. We seek to connect, develop and share the work of our members, creating an effective professional body for the students' union movement. In terms of our values and what's important to us, collaboration. Lots of people have talked about whether this is an organisation that's going to be in opposition to other bodies in and around the students' union space. And very much from our point of view, this is about collaboration. We feel as though there is a real gap in terms of a national perspective on the professional approach and development of students' union staff. Inclusivity, we have made massive strides in terms of inclusivity, but there is still a real call to action for inclusivity within our students' union movement. And I think that is exemplified by the fact that the vast majority of our staff still, in terms of demographics, do not represent the experiences and lives of people who are experiencing their university or college education, and therefore we have some questions to answer as a sector regarding that. What he talked about being a learning and development being a core part of a professional association, and learning very much is part of that mission. But I think it's also important to recognise that learning isn't an end game, and therefore, you know, the culture around the association must be about learning through our practice and moving that forward. Professional association that isn't about professionalism doesn't sound right to me, but professionalism is a key value, and we have to define what that professionalism is. And I think that's important. Trust as well. I think it's really important that in the inception of a professional association that we're able to talk about trust in our organisations, but also trust in the association to be the professional association for students' union staff. We developed some overarching goals, and these are designed to be our first sort of 4 goals from now until December 2021. And so our first one is about establishing the association as the effective professional body for staff in the students' union movement. Number 2, established a clear professional code of ethics for SU professionals across the SU movement, and established clear professional development pathways for our members at entry, middle and senior levels. And our 4th is about making sure there's better resources being available to help staff improve their skills and the impact of their work. Before I go into the ideas so far, for those of you who have been through our website, you will have seen some of these ideas, but also in terms of the vision and the purpose and the values, we believe that those are just the start of the 10, and certainly through consultations like this we're doing today, that we will seek through the advisory board then to make sure that they're fit for purpose and they're ready for launch. So, a bit about the ideas so far. What would you get as a member of the professional association? Firstly, we would be looking obviously to do events and training programs and workshops, and certainly members who are in full membership would get discount to those. We'd also seek to be doing to establishing a national directory of our members, and that's individual members, so that other members of the association can make direct connections with each other based on job role or type of role or type of union, or even based on projects that people are currently undertaking. We also believe that there's still a space for blogs and articles and resources to be written and also hosted, but also whilst also being in the ownership of their author. And we would look to develop sort of that kind of thought leadership around the things that are most prominent in terms of our day-to-day work. Networks based on either role or mission group or project would also sought to be developed. The next one is an interesting idea that has come out of some of the consultations we've held so far, and the idea of creating an internship program from those student unions who would want to join in, that would enable first level entry staff, whether they have been at university or not, to take their first step on the ladder and to take placements for periods of between 3, 6 or 9 months within local student unions, or student unions who have opted into the scheme. Underneath the internship one, we would want to ensure that there is regular research and workforce planning going on an annual basis at least, to ensure that we are mapping the sector and the people who are working within it. And we're learning from that so that we're able to understand where we need to collectively make developments. The next one then, alongside that, is about a skill swap idea. We have lots and lots and lots of opportunities where we see people who are coming in from an outsourcing point of view to do projects. We believe that there is incredible depth within the sector to insource depending on skills or project and need, and so a skill swap program is one of those things we're currently looking at. Along from that, then you've got mentoring, and that's not just about mentoring per position or for new leaders or so on. It's about mentoring for any member of staff, depending on that particular need. And we would hope that we would create a network of mentors that would be available to mentees, either who have or are currently working within the sector, or may have worked in the sector previously and now either are retired or have moved to different sectors. The next one from that then, as we're going left, is about recognising the day-to-day kind of brilliance that works, that happens in student unions and that staff make in terms of contributions. And we've stolen an idea from Bournemouth Student Union, who run an excellent programme called the You're Brilliant Awards, and we'd love to develop that. And the next one that we're toying with then, the final picture of the 10 is around a careers board. And for membership of the association, one of the proposals is that a careers board would be free to access. Let's go back. Oh, no, that's terrible. Let's go back. So what have we already done? We have already run a number of these kind of consultations and have been learning from that, as you've seen from the previous slide. We've also run our first free workshop in terms of leading the team back from furlough, and we did a rerun of that yesterday with some other delegates who were at the conference. On Friday, and on Monday from us, we worked with Cool Insight Limited to deliver a new sort of document in terms of lessons from COVID and students' unions responding to the challenges presented by COVID. That's on our site and also on Cool Insight's website as well in our resources section. So please do take a look at that and some really great work that has happened there. And we've also started putting together our advisory board. Our advisory board is for the first 6 months only. We will have an advisory board moving forward, but we felt as though it was really important that we put together an advisory board for the first 6 months that's really focused on making sure the association is developing for our members, but in the right way, and can actually give something back to the students' union sector. So we announced our first 3 members of the advisory board, Clara Lee, Robin McPherson and Gary Hughes. So one of the key questions, it's not necessarily for you to answer today, but it's just one of the things that's playing in our mind is if the offer is right, would organisations and/or people pay? We've been looking at 3 membership categories. We've been looking at individual membership and whether individual membership would work for students, union staff. We've been looking at organisational membership and whether organisations would see this professional association as a benefit for their staff. And by an organisation joining, all of their staff members would automatically become individual members of the association. And then alumni membership for people who have worked in the sector, but also then who have retired from the sector, who want to stay in touch, want to maybe get involved in the kind of mentoring programs and other projects that we may develop. And so we've been thinking about that. It could be that just people want to stay in touch. So after all of that, it's over to you really. And so I'm really interested in just any bits of feedback that you have in terms of what resonates for you, what is missing, what do you foresee as the major obstacles, are there any detractors? And then finally, a bit ambitious from myself, I think that's probably the end. Where should we aim to be as an association by September, January, and then December next year? Thank you. So is there anybody who would like to just sort of give feedback on the things that they've heard so far? Feel free just to jump in. It's all gone very quiet. Okay, I've got Kate.
Hello, Scott, and everyone. For me, professionalism for me is a personal thing, and I've been struggling in our union to try and establish some kind of standard across the organization for the last 4 years. Professionalism in itself falls down at the very bottom of the ladder in terms of how they want to operate. but I think the whole thing is more wider ranging, which then makes me think of perhaps there needs to be more emphasis on learning and development so that we equip those students who are coming through and the periodic sabbatical officers with the skills and knowledge to actually go outside when they eventually leave academia or the organization itself. I think having something that we can build into our learning development activities for the students would go a long way to achieving some kind of professionalism, both with the staff and for the students. And I think this kind of association would definitely help. The bugbear is going to get the student unions to obviously pay for this kind of for this kind of thing. And I'm really keen to be part of this. This is something I've been looking for the last 4 years. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Kate. That's really, really valuable. I think there's lots in there really to focus on. I think I do share with you the the question of what professionalism means to the students' union sector is really, really important, because it means different things to different people, as you rightly say, and we need to own what that narrative is, and what that means. And I think one of the questions that has been posed to me is and not just recently in terms of this, but in terms of my history in students' unions, is we don't want a professional students' union. We want something that is going to really make impact for people on the ground. And I think where we talk about professionalism, it's about really being focused on the professional skills and qualities that make that happen, that makes change for students, and I think that's really, really, really important.
Agree.
Thank you, Kate. Any other thoughts from anybody else? So in terms of that stuff which resonates, what might be missing? Are there any major obstacles? Are there any detractors? Any of those questions really, or maybe you've got another thought. Feel free just to jump in.
Hi, Scott. It's Tom Foy. I'm at Brighton Students' Union.
Hello, Tom. Good to see you.
I was wondering, I wonder if there's anything, any sort of research or something that's been done around what current sort of qualifications student union staff have, and what maybe what the sort of qualifications should look like for student union staff, and then how that progresses as they move up through the organisation, and also whether that has any impact on how sort of professional the staff are perceived amongst the rest of the sort of academic community, because there is I do often get the same as you, where people think I'm either a student or somebody who didn't want to leave university, and I'd be interested to think how we could change the narrative around that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's lots of work going on around professional development, and within students' unions, there's some excellent pieces of work as well. I guess my frustration is you have to find it. You have to go and look for it, rather than it being there. So I see the Professional Association playing a number of roles, really. I think one of the things that the ACUI do in the States, they've got a set of core competencies that everybody works towards, and you can see those things being aspired to as a sector. And I think that's really, really important that we have that conversation, and we're able to create that within the UK sector. And it may be that, you know, it could be as simple as just looking at what the ACUI have done and modifying, but it also, you know, it needs to take into account what's going on the ground. I know there are some student unions in the Midlands who are working on an ILM programme that is about people, you know, working on the ground with students and student leaders, and what that means. And I think that is incredibly important. There is some work being done by some people who are what I would call alumni of the sector, and you know, very, very experienced and well-regarded managers within the sector who are keen to develop their own kind of program. And then that's about first line management through to senior positioning. But then there's also stuff that we're looking at with our partner StudyFlex in terms of are there, and they're a CMI Chartered Management Institute centre, and we're asking ourselves the question, could we create the Chartered SU Manager programme within the next 3 years and have that as something which is about the sector, from the sector, that would have readily identifiable you know, benefits to people who, you know, then move on to their next career. So those are the kinds of things that we're looking at around there, which I think is exciting, actually, very exciting.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And it's not just about management roles, it's about, you know, at that front end, which is why I like the stuff that's happening in terms of the ILM program that I've just mentioned, because that is about how people work with students on the ground. And I think that is incredibly exciting as well. So lots of things to think about. And you know, what does that mean for our people who are working in the back office? In terms of those HR, those finance roles, those facilities roles, those kinds of things, those places that are about making the stuff happen in the front as well. So does that help?
Yeah, I think that sounds really exciting.
Excellent. Thank you, Tom. Anything else? Anybody else got any sort of thoughts? Okay. So let's try to see if there's anybody else wanting to come in and say something. So as I say, we've put together quite a lot of these consultations, and we're having regular conversations with those people who've been to those sessions. What I would say is certainly sign up to our website, and I'll give that out in a moment if you want to be kept up in terms of information about what we are doing. And I think that, I mean, I'm incredibly excited about the potential of the professional association and where we could be and the things that we could be doing. I'll just click on, he says, to the next bit. I mentioned the blog earlier. That was sort of in the beginning of June that we put that out there. And you have the opportunity to read that blog. It's also on our website, so do have a check of that as well. You can promote the conversation that blog talks about, and then also give our social media some follows. So on Facebook, we're SU Professionals. On LinkedIn, we're SU Professionals. On Twitter, we're Association SU. And there's a bit of a story to that, but we still own the SU Professionals account, but we just can't use it. Our timeline really for what we're doing, we're currently carrying out initial kind of test work and consultations, as you being in this session shows. We're then looking for, this month and next month to be about strategizing, taking all that information in, and then dealing in terms of that promotion. And then we hope to open membership in September. So that's that's where we see ourselves going. That might be quite quick for some of you, particularly given the challenges that I know many organisations are facing at the moment. But one of the things that we have been really focusing on is whether, we're a brand new organisation. We're asking for a lot in terms of faith from both individuals and from organisations who were asking to sign up to membership. So in year one, we are thinking about a heavily discounted founders membership or a believers kind of membership. Which would be open to people if they signed up within the first couple of months. So hold on, let's go back. I did have other things. I think, let's see. Right. Hopefully you can now see that. Yes, there's our social media pages. Our website is www.suprofessionals.co.uk, and that's it. Thank you. There's my email address and also my telephone number. If there are any other questions or any other thoughts, feel free. I'm more than happy to stick around for the next sort of ever how long, to be honest.